Absolute sweetheart. Look at this photograph. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wrestle Plug State of Address. Okay, that's sorry, I just got derailed by a message. That's anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wrestle Plug State of Wrestling Address. I am Aeron Nix, King of Shithousery, the Egyptian Death Machine, videographer, MC, commentator, referee, editor. What else do? I do photography.
Sexual deviant porn stuff.
Yeah, sexual deviant, definitely, absolutely, definitely, and pretty ladies watching, and pretty men watching. But however, I am joined by my favorite person of all time, obviously, because all the rest of you suck for not turning up. But I do love him dearly, even though we give him a nice ripping. Look at this photograph, because he is indeed in the frame, and he's a perfect man for the job. The man who puts the wood in Bollywood, Tanvir. Mid-wedding, because apparently in India you have pre-wedding, present wedding, post-wedding parties. Like it's like 3 days, isn't it? Crazy.
Hi everyone. Yeah, it's me. But yeah, because the thing with the Indian wedding is, so my sister and my cousins, they kind of staggered it out. So it was like 1 day event, daybreak, another day event, daybreak, and then the actual wedding day, which I was like, that's perfect. That's the best way to do it, of like stagger it out. Whereas if you go proper traditional, it's like 3-4 days in a row. And especially because this one's like far away, like an hour to an hour and a half drive away each time, like there and back. It's bloody long. So that's why it's like I don't mind it, but it's just very long. But it'll be a fun day tomorrow, because tomorrow's the actual wedding. So going to the temple and all that, I get to wear a snazzy suit. And then Saturday is the actual reception in the afternoon at 4. So I'm going to try and get a workout in the morning before having to head to the reception at 4 o'clock.
Wow, there's a lot in it, isn't there? Like,
yeah,
fucking makes British weddings look like shit by comparison as well. Like,
the thing with Indian weddings as well is because sometimes you see like family that I haven't seen in ages, and then when you have your parents, they're like kind of introducing, you're like, I don't know who the fuck you are. I'm sorry, I haven't seen you in so long, but nice to meet you.
do you just find that so with these weddings, are they all like? We're just going to talk about culture for a bit, so ourselves. With these weddings, do you find that like for instance, what's it? I forgot what it's called. You know, like when they don't meet their partners, or it's arranged marriage. Like
arranged marriage. Yeah,
predominantly are they predominantly arranged? Are they?
Not really nowadays, because I think me and my mom had this conversation because we watched a film recently called "What's Love Got to Do with It," which was about arranged marriage. And so I saw it, and I said separately, because mum went and saw a different film. I was like, it's very kind of culturally impactful because it's to do with arranged marriage and the Indian culture and the weddings and that side. And so then when mum saw it, she's like, I get what you mean, but it's not as prevalent as it was back then, because my mum and dad was an arranged marriage 36 years ago, and it was basically just meet, get married, done. And so arranged marriage is not as prevalent as it was. It's now like, okay, how long have you been together? So I think my cousin who got married last month, him and his girl, they were work colleagues, and then they dated for a year and like got married. My other cousin next year, he's getting married, and I think he met his girlfriend through Tinder or Bumble. That's nice. And then my cousin who's getting married this weekend, I've met her fiance or groom many times over the years. Absolutely lovely guy. He's best. The way we describe him is that he's basically my brother-in-law, but brown, because you see him get drunk and it's incredible.
That's what I say about you.
Yeah, we say the way we can tell my brother-in-law's having a good time or he's pissed is that his top comes off.
My top will never come off, no matter how happy I am. Maybe if I won the tag titles or something, I might stretch for it. But
you got to win the tag titles with Dexter.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? You would think. That's Ebenezer for anyone who doesn't know.
Ebenezer the Gazer.
Yeah, not Dexter LDR Jagman, who used to originally do this podcast. Can you imagine him as a wrestler? Oh boy!
I'm just glad to be here, guys.
So glad to be here. Roll for initiative. Oh boy!
What about Nick? Nick as a wrestler?
Yeah, fuck it. Why not? Yeah. What, Nick Payne?
Yeah, Nick Payne.
Oh, man, fucking, do you know, Nick Payne, if you're out there, contact us, mate. I'm worried I might have to put you on the side of a milk carton. Every now and then he likes a tweet, and I'm like, man, what happened to that guy? You know?
Kids.
Kids, yeah. Oh, okay. That was a good message.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
fine. Please.
Nix is get
I'm appealing to the Almighty. Seriously, I am this close to sacrificing a lamb to the Almighty Imhotep just to get a fucking partner. Like, it cannot be that hard.
Why didn't you sacrifice your flatmate or your housemate?
You know what? Look at this photograph.
Just stick her on the side of a milk carton.
Yes, you literally just like crucified. Speaking of impaling things, I do have some wrestling news that I thought we might catch up with because we haven't spoken about it. We didn't get a chance to really cover it last week either because we were so obsessed with trying to, unwrap WrestleMania. What do we think about Big Fucking Joe putting a needle through a guy's dick?
So that was over Mania weekend. It was kind of one of those weird ones, but I was also at the same time just seeing, I'm like, it's a graphic image. It's not for everyone. But knowing the way how the US is, they probably had like the right senses of like, this is an 18 plus show. Don't watch this if you're a child.
It is difficult, isn't it? Because I get why people are, disgusted and things like so. XPW was the promotion. Now, I don't personally have any bad feelings towards him. You might have noticed actually some of my mates wrestle there. Like I like Big Joe. Like I get on really well with Joe. Like I wouldn't say he's my friend because I wouldn't want to be, arrogant enough to say we're mates. But I've worked on shows with him.
Yeah,
and I think he's fucking awesome. And obviously Big Lou Nixon from British Top Team, who I love dearly. He's just made his debut out there, and I'm fucking super stoked for these. Because they're fucking awesome guys. They deserve to go abroad. Now, is deathmatch wrestling my cup of tea? I enjoy it as long as it's done properly, but I wouldn't do it regularly. I prefer it when it's a novelty as opposed to a regularity.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's one of those things where I must admit, so I was at House of Pain with Spinebuster Media doing a collab there, recording a show, and then like it's the interval, and I'm like, oh, let's have a look at my Jesus Christ, what is that? Like, you would put it the rest of my group.
Yeah, because as soon as I found it and I saw it was Big Joe, I'm like, I've got to tag Nix. I was like, I have to tag you because you've worked with Big Joe. I was like, oh yeah, you get to see your boy put a needle in someone's.
Well, that's it. When you said it's crazy because it's someone I work with, I thought, oh no. Like I was thinking Ebenezer had like fucking impaled his own dick in somebody or something. Because you know what he's like. He wouldn't give a... Yeah, it's just I don't know. There's like I want to say I'm outraged, but I'm not.
It's controversial to say the least. I think the thing that dampens it is because ever since Elon took over Twitter, there's not really as much kind of that safeguard issue where it's like you have to be a certain age to watch this and this. Whereas just on Twitter now, because Elon's in charge, it's just out there in the open. So I was able to just freely spread that, and then you don't know who's seen it or who's watching. Like it could be a child watching it for God knows some reason, and it's like, Jesus Christ. So it is controversial to say the least.
You know what? It's like sex with me. It's controversial, but it's still consensual. Like at the end of the day, all jokes aside, those guys have obviously. It's not like he was like surprise. Like, can you imagine?
Yeah. What was the? I always forget the quote though, where it's like controversy breeds something.
Controversy creates cash was something
that was it.
That was the name of Eric Bischoff's autobiography, which was very smart. Yeah. But one thing that I always loved was Paul Heyman, who said, "Where there is chaos, JR, there is opportunity."
Yeah, that was it.
And that's another one where you think, yeah, do you know what? Like, I'm cool with it. Like, do you know? Am I gonna do it? Absolutely fucking not.
No.
Like, give me the watch along though. I'm down for it. Like, no. I just think maybe because of Rise as well and working with them, and don't get me wrong, I love working with Rise, man. I love that. As you know, I'm always ranting about it in the group chat. Yeah, it's one of those things. Okay, yeah, it's a little bit too much for some, but at the same time, like you said, these are 18 plus shows. Now, people have said that apparently there were kids in the audience. That's not really that's
not on the wrestlers. That's on the promoters. It's like, say for example, if he was here, I'd love to ask him the question. Frankie T, we know him as the
Frankie D. Is that his more sexual gimmick?
Yeah.
Frankie D. Who else
on his 18 plus shows where he wants to be a bit sexually active.
Yes, you've just been, mate. I'll fucking get a copyright on that immediately, so we can't make royalties off.
Yeah, if Frankie T was here, I'd ask him as a promoter about like running 18 plus shows, because the thing is with the XPW, you see the card, you see deathmatch, that should immediately tell you this is a 15 to 18 plus show, whereas because I think that was the thing back in Camden with Anarchy, where where
Man, I used to love those shows.
I forget the name. Gemma. Yeah, when she was promoting it, it'd always be on the website ticket of like, this is a specifically 18 plus show. And I think the security guards there would do ID checks if need be.
Yeah, I was going to say it's difficult, isn't it? Because for XPW, it's like it never falls on the wrestlers in this regard because like Big Joe's thinking this is an 18 plus, so everything's game. But if you're the promoters, you do have to put someone in place to ensure the kids aren't getting in. Like even if it's just, and if the security guards have let them in and you're unaware, fair enough. But it's that thing of, but then I don't know if it is actually true if there were kids in your ones or if somebody's just like making a big deal out of it. But I mean, what happened 2 weeks ago, and already we're not talking about it.
That's the thing.
We're the only ones who are probably still talking about it.
There's always going to be like something more controversial that comes up. Like, oh, look at what Vikingo did. He did a triple, and then it's like, but this guy just stuck a needle in someone's. Like, oh, but this guy did a cool flip. So, okay,
yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Like, you know, one day it's like needle in the dick. The next day, oh, Vikingo does a 720, 460 Salchow for a table. Okay, cool. Just as one last question, how much money as a wrestler would it take for you to do that spot, to like take a syringe for your dick? Was it through the foreskin or did it go right through the Bennett?
Through the foreskin.
Yeah, see, that's not as, it's not great, obviously, it's still horrible, but that's not nearly as bad as going right through the meaty shaft.
I think it's like, in terms of money-wise, no, but if we're going to the States, I'd immediately say to the booker, it's like, where are you taking me out for dinner? Because I'd be like, there's got to be like somewhere amazing here. And then if you recommend it to me and I see the menu, I'm like, okay, I'll do it if you get me the most expensive meal.
Really? So you're willing to do it for an expensive dinner, not money?
If it was in the UK, you'd have to give me money, like maybe like 10 grand, we're speaking. But if
it would have to be enough that it could solve most of my problems. If
exactly.
They said to me, like, so, you know, like something around 5 to 10 grand, I think, which would clear out, you know, whatever debt I've got, maybe pay off my car or something. I probably would take a needle for a dick for that. And people are sitting there going, wow, fuck me, this guy's got some low standards. Yes, turns out I have. No, I haven't. But come on, man, 10 grand is 10 grand.
Exactly.
Like, there are guys sucking each other off in back alleys for 20 quid. I'm taking 10 grand to take a syringe.
It's like if we were to do that spot here, like say for Wrestle Plug Pro, for example, 10 grand. If it wasn't if we were doing it,
don't give us ideas.
If
Wrestle Plug Pro.
If it was like in the United States or like Mexico somewhere, I'd be like, I know you guys have incredible fucking food. Can we just go around like dinner?
I love that. If it's in Mexico, tacos. If it's in the UK, 10 grand. Brilliant. That's
because it's like our food here. I've had so much of it, and I'm like, nah, I wanna cleanse the palate. It's like, can you take me to some amazing fucking places
just for food? Or having a needle for the dick, I'll tell you that. It would have been. Oh yeah, no. The thing is, though, the one thing that does worry me with stuff like this is, and this will be my final thought, is now you got to top that. So what's next?
Exactly.
And that's the worrying thing, because you know what these deathmatch guys are like? They will top each other in different ways. And I'm thinking, what the fuck are you going to do next? I'm expecting like needles through your fucking taint and stuff like that. I'm waiting for something.
Oh, I just had a brutal thought about what someone will probably do.
Put it out there. Put it out there so that we can get, because then we can claim that we came up with the idea.
Live in the ring circumcision in a deathmatch. They do a fucking circumcision in the ring.
Yo, about, I'd say, well, I've already had a circumcision.
I haven't, so Jesus Christ.
So for you, how much are we talking? Is that like unlimited tacos for a year? Or?
Give me like a mil to do a fucking live circumcision.
You know what I love? Is everyone sitting there going, talk about WWE being sold, and we're like, no, we're talking about a needle for the dick.
It's because the thing is, the WWE thing's been covered. It's like on the drive home, I think, on Monday with my mum. It was just on LBC, just casually, like, WWE and UFC merger for 21.4 billion.
I love that your mum listens to LBC.
It's
like
so
wholesome.
Yeah, it's got mass cut. Mum listens to either LBC or Indian like radio channels, which is pretty cool.
I don't know why I thought you were going to say Indian rap then.
Yeah. There are
And
some
in Jordan's theme tune, just like constantly on repeat.
there are some cool Indian raps, but yeah, we were just listening to LBC on the way home, I think, from a shopping trip or something, and they just mentioned it casually on LBC. I'm like, why do we need to talk about it then when it's got so much mass coverage already? It's cool to give our opinions. I'm not saying that, but it's just when it's something as big as this, as a merger between the two arguably biggest combat companies in the world, it of course it's going to have mass coverage and it's going to have loads of opinions. I think the biggest opinion I could give is the whole Vince McMahon debacle about how I think the one guy, I forget the name of the CEO, was saying we're not doing this merger without Vince McMahon.
What,
So
Nick Khan, is it?
not Nick Khan, I think it was the CEO of Endeavor. I think it's
Oh,
Ariel
okay.
something or Ari something. Yeah, I was saying he wasn't willing to do the merger without Vince McMahon present. And so basically bringing Vince back into WWE and the company. And it's like, but we just had so many good months without Vince McMahon and his creative. It's like, we didn't need him. We did not need him back. Because now Michael Cole's going to fucking want to off himself on commentary, considering how good he's been recently.
Oh, I don't know. You've pissed me off at WrestleMania. It's like, what winds me up, right, is so you've got Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio, and it's like, here we go. Father versus son for the first time at WrestleMania since WrestleMania 17. It's so blood rivalry. I hate you. You disgrace my family are ringside. And then Michael Cole's like, don't forget about Cinnamon Toast Crunch, baby. Oh, yeah,
that was the only annoying thing because it did feel at times like maybe Vince was in his ear. Like, don't forget the product placement.
Bunch of some more of that Cinnamon Crunch, you son of a bitch.
I liked Cole's reactions to Pat McAfee.
And oh my God, he is such a stan, isn't he? He simps for McAfee.
But I don't blame him because it's like, if we all remember the SmackDowns when it would be Cole and McAfee, and you just see how rejuvenated and reinvigorated Michael Cole was in his job. So anytime he sees Pat, it's almost like it's the guy who helped like rebuild my career. Of like, I love this guy, and then also I love Michael Cole's calls during the Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and the Usos match of like, especially for the 1D when he was freaking out of like nobody's ever kicked out of the 1D, like losing his mind.
Yeah, to be fair, he did sell that well. By the way, the name you were looking for, I think, is Ari Emanuel.
That was it, yeah.
Yeah, he's the Endeavor CEO, but Vince McMahon and Dana White will retain their roles in the two companies because obviously it was like Endeavor will own 51% for the holding of both of those companies, essentially.
Yeah, it was like Dana. It makes sense because Dana's the main guy for UFC, and I think Dana White's still fairly young, as well. Might need to do an age check and check.
He's definitely younger than Vince McMahon.
But with Vince, he put out the tweet last year, and he's 77 now. So it's just like, nah, you need to put it up. I just checked 53. Dana. Yeah, him and Triple H are the same age.
That's madness, isn't it?
Yeah.
But with that, you think, okay, this guy's going to have a sound business mind for at least the next 10, 15 years minimum.
Yeah.
Whereas Vince McMahon looks like he's already batshit insane.
Yeah.
I can imagine, like, I'm interested. I can't wait to see the creative, like, sort of ideas. Because, first of all, we're already hearing, aren't we, potential mergers where UFC stars are going to turn up in WWE. So this, I mean, to be fair, I do want Conor McGregor on Raw, like desperately. I just want Finn Balor to come out and he's just like, the Balor Club is ready, and then all you hear is 20 errands, you.
I'm
sworn in out and just starts on Balor.
I'd want like a John Jones or maybe a Francis Ngannou to just turn up as like an enforcer of like. Because Ngannou's got the strongest punch, or is that Usman? It's one of them. I think it's Ngannou.
I'm not good with the UFC stuff.
Yeah, Ngannou or
a massive fan, but
yeah. One of them appeared in the Jackass movie, and it's like, yeah, he's got the most powerful punch in the world. So seeing him appear on TV would be pretty cool to just lay out.
I used to love Andrei Arlovsky. I used to think he was a fucking man. Like, you know, the axe murderer of Wanderlei Silva as well. Like, you know, I'm an old school MMA guy. You know.
I always forget his name. Krokop.
Oh yeah, Mirko. Is it Mirko Krokop?
Yeah, Mirko Krokop. Yeah, they stuck Yuji Nagata and Alberto Del Rio in the octagon with Krokop. It's like, are you trying to kill these guys? Because I love What's it, what's the Joe Rogan? I love how Joe Rogan on one of the podcasts described the greatest stare down of all time was Pro Cop and Wanderlei Silva. How Silva was trying to psych Pro Cop out, but Wanderlei didn't realize that Pro Cop was part of like the Ukrainian special forces and all that. So you see Pro Cop, they're just staring at him like he's a piece of fucking meat. You're like, you're like, yeah, Wanderlei ain't facing this guy because Crocop's built different.
Yes, he is. I'll tell you what is built differently. Entrance videos at WrestleMania.
Ooh. Oh yeah, I know what we're getting to.
So it never hurts to double check, Tanvir, does it?
Yeah.
That would be just one of the lessons WWE has to relearn this week, as they're now facing genuine backlash from fans, casual observers, and especially the Auschwitz Memorial, after including an image of the Auschwitz concentration camp in the promo package for the match between Dominic and Rey Mysterio, which is, by the way, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That's all I have to say on that. The Auschwitz Memorial released a statement on the matter early Wednesday morning, yesterday, tweeting the fact that Auschwitz image was used to promote a WWE match is hard to call an editing mistake. Exploiting the site that became a symbol of enormous human tragedy is shameless and insults the memory of all victims of Auschwitz. NPR reached out to WWE for comment and did not hear back as of the morning of April 6th, which is today. While the promotional material featured Dom speaking at length about his time in prison, WWE used plenty of B-roll and stock footage of prison throughout the video package. Most unfortunately, an image of Auschwitz appeared and was noticed immediately by fans. However, while playing the same video package back later that night, that same image of Auschwitz had already been removed. It also does not appear again during any highlights recounting WrestleMania 39, specifically night one. This is going to cop me a lot of heat. At least it wasn't Hell in a Cell.
Oh God.
Sorry. I'm
so
sorry.
I don't blame you. If it was Hell in a Cell, this would have been.
But genuinely,
so
like, people are thinking
worse.
you fucking distasteful cunt, and yeah, I know it's a terrible joke. But genuinely, think about if it was though, or Elimination Chamber or something like that. You're like, Jesus Christ.
If it was Elimination Chamber, the company would be fucking lost.
Well, they call it in Germany, legitimately. They call the elimination. They just call it WWE Chamber, don't they? Because it's so like, whoa, easy, watch it, you know.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing. I might be joking a little bit, but then when I think about it, realistically, it is a good thing. Like that thing of that shows you how easily these things. So, for instance, I'm a videographer, right, and I make a lot of what I like to think are good things. I like my shit, and obviously, I
like it too.
Thank you very much. You're very sweet. But it's that thing of I use stock footage quite a bit. You know, any videographer is like, oh, all my stuff is shot. I do all of it. I say, fuck off. We all use stock footage. That's what it's there for. So it's very easy to just go, like, for instance, this is really on the nose. I've just recorded a prison style segment for myself. It's kind of like a mental health thing that I want to talk about, the imprisoned mind.
Yeah.
Because my last one was very Matrix. So this one's going to be more about things. And if anyone does want to check it out, if they're interested, it's at Aeron Nix Design. And yeah, I'll happily link it to you, or it's on my portfolios, whatever. But I was thinking, like, yeah, it would be really easy for me to just maybe pick an image of prison without thinking about it, and it could happen to be like, I don't know, the barbed wire from Auschwitz. You've got to double check your shit, because stuff like this will happen. I can't, as much as it's a fucking terrible error, I can't help but surely it's not done with malice. I think it's just a genuinely stupid mistake. But the problem is, we're talking about a company that's just been sold for $9 billion. And it's that thing of, if your company's worth that much, there has to be people that check this shit.
It feels, it might be a bit of a stretch, but it feels like it's like with Disney, the whole Marvel Star Wars VFX debacle, because it's like, okay, why does Star Wars VFX look so much better than Marvel's? It's because all of Star Wars is done in-house, like all through 1 to 2 companies. Whereas with Marvel, they outsource it, so there's so many editors and all that. So so I think with this, maybe
what is that for? When you say VFX, do you mean visual effects?
Yeah, the visual effects. So with Star
Wars, is Marvel considered not nearly as good as Star Wars in that regard?
No, because with Marvel, it's like you can see how bad and inconsistent it is, because they're outsourced to so many companies to be like, you got to work on this and this and this, and it's like, you've got like 15, 16 different companies working on so many different aspects. Whereas with the Star Wars, it's only like 2 to 3, and because they're in house, it's so much easier to communicate and work. So I think with this, maybe there might have been a bit of communication error. Maybe there's quite a few editing people who work on this that maybe there was just a miscommunication error, and then because there might be like quite a few people who have to filter and watch through this, and maybe all of them somehow missed it because and also we've got to remember there might have been like so many different cuts of this video to air rather than just the one that we were shown. There might have been like 5, 6 different cuts they could have shown, and this was the one they chose just because it wasn't filtered right. So there is a lot to think about. I think it is just human error on this part. Maybe there was just a mistake. Like you just said yourself, I don't think there was any malice intended. But I think if there was any malice intended, there would be a lot more imagery and a lot more darker and a lot more in the promo that Don in Dom
Oh
said.
God,
So,
yeah, like,
so
it's just so culturally like out of line because you're talking about Mexican heritage. It's like
yeah,
completely over the other side of the cultural spectrum.
exactly. So
Doesn't
I think
really make any sense. Like
so,
if it now if it had played during Gunther's entrance, I would have been slightly alarmed.
yeah, I would have been like,
I must
Jesus
admit,
Christ.
I didn't see it, but then that's on me. I
It's
must admit,
because
I wasn't paying attention. I was kind of like because I watched WrestleMania,
yeah,
believe it or not, in rewind, so I was kind
yeah.
of skipping through
Because
anyway.
I think the video with the Auschwitz was actually on the pre-show, on the kickoff show,
Oh,
whereas the one that was shown on the main show didn't have Auschwitz. So I think that might have been why quite a few of us missed it, because the 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 pre-show kind of needs to die, because if there's nothing on the pre-show, it's just people talking. It's like
2 hours of
may
build
it
each night as well. So and like each night was what 4 hours long, 6 hours including pre-show. Fuck off.
should be about, if you're gonna do a pre-show, make it 45 minutes to an hour, just to like maybe run through a few things, run through the
30 minutes. But if you
yeah,
go back and watch like the old like WrestleMania SummerSlams with like Mean Gene doing the pre-show, it's 30
yeah,
minutes. And it was a
exactly.
Coliseum exclusive. So you would only see it if you bought the videotape from
Oh, that's
Coliseum.
pretty cool.
Yeah. So speaking of Coliseum, April 30th, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back in the saddle as the voice of Coliseum Wrestling. We've got some fucking absolute bangers lined up, and we'll run through that.
I still need to book my ticket, but I will absolutely be
You
there.
best be there, boy. I'll
Yeah,
just smuggle you in. You can sit
yeah.
on an ounce. And with,
I'll
yeah.
wear it.
You know what? Jake Pugh can fuck off. Get rid of him. He's a fucking. So Tanvir's taking your job, mate.
uh,
Like,
I'll wear one of my snazzy suits. I'll be like, I'll say to Nadia, can I be MC? Nah, I'd fucking be dreadful at MC.
yeah, no, I mean, I made my MZing debut last weekend for BCD.
Yeah, how was that, by the way, for
Really good.
BCD?
Yeah, I loved it, to be honest. It was one of my
Yeah,
favorite shows as well. Do you know
cause
what? There's a lot of like worry about it. Not a fucking peep.
yeah, cause was sorry to interrupt. Was BCD's Jay Knox's promotion?
Yeah, behind closed doors. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, it's redacted. Yeah, no, it was one of
I
those things. I thought it was great, and I know a lot of people made a fuss about it. And to be, I know people are thinking, "Oh, he's going to make snide little remarks." Now, no, I'm not. I'm just getting on with it. Like at
yeah,
the end of the day, I enjoyed it. I was treated extremely fucking well, and it wasn't just about working for Jay, who, by the way, has been incredibly professional and
yeah.
incredibly kind to me throughout the entire process. But it was the whole locker room of guys. We had 5 matches. They were all brilliant. The sound quality, the fans had a great time. It was safe. It was professionally run.
The,
That's what wrestling's supposed to be about.
exactly. The best way I put it with here is with the Jay Knox situation of like he'd been to prison, he's come out, he's bettering himself. Imagine GCW without Nick Gage. Because the thing is, imagine like Nick Gage came out of prison, he's bettered himself, and GCW is doing business. Look how big GCW's become, and Nick Gage is there, and genuinely, it's similar to like a Jay Briscoe situation where people think, oh, he's just this awesome. Where it's like, no, these guys have genuinely, they've been there, they've come out, and they've bettered themselves. Like Nick Gage, genuinely, think through some of his Instagram posts, he's a trans ally. He's an ally and all that stuff. So people think, oh, he's just this nasty redneck. It's like, no, he's genuinely educated himself to be a better person. And you can tell, even though I've only met Jay once and it was through our horrific games nights, you can tell
What's
already.
horrific about them?
you can already tell like Jay's bettered himself, and so and it was just it was an
Yeah.
incident which he even admitted himself. It was like he did have malcontent.
And he also paid the price for it. Like,
yeah,
it does worry me. Obviously, we won't get into it too much because of
yeah,
obviously legal technicalities.
yeah.
But
It wasn't as if that he was.
let's not act like this man didn't serve his time,
Yeah,
okay? And let's not also act like people can't fucking get better. Like,
yeah,
since he's rehabilitated, he's been working in community
yeah.
theatre, he's been doing stand up, he's been helping give back to the community, he's been
Mhm.
working with the church. Like, what more do you want from him? Like, you know what?
It's not one of those situations where, like, say for example, the amount of people who are named in speaking out that were like raped and nonce. It's like, yeah, Jay genuinely did something that you can better from. Whereas with what a lot of the guys from Speaking Out did, who are still for some reason getting booked in certain promotions.
Ultimately, it was a receipt that went wrong, and
Yeah,
that's it's not a good thing by any means. And whether it's calculated or not, I can't say. But the bottom line is that he paid the price and went to prison. But there's a lot of guys who have done just as bad, if not worse, things in our
yeah,
business who walk around with no repercussions. So
yeah.
nobody's saying that he shouldn't have served his time because he should have. And I actually came out on this podcast and said he was a piece of shit, and I stand by that. Even to this day, I say that to his face. Yeah, you deserve to go to prison, mate, because you assaulted somebody. That's the bottom line of it.
Yeah.
It was proven in a court of law. But
And I
oh,
think
what?
the
At the
thing
end of
with
the day, like I say, we can't touch on it too much because I don't particularly fancy a lawsuit
because
for my fucking letterbox. But
because I think the thing with Jay is as well is that even though you say to him it's like you're a piece of shit, you deserve to go to prison, he'll look you in the eye and kind of be like, I know. Like
yeah,
yeah,
literally, like when I
like
met,
like he's not denying it. He's not one of those who are like, oh no, I don't. He'd look you in the eye and be like, I did, and
Tanvir is
I've done my
definitely
time,
getting
but
in
I
trouble with the lawyers
did.
here, isn't he? You just
Yeah,
let it go, Tanvir.
yeah. That was just the last little thing I wanted to say about that.
So, Fire Vince chants break out during commercial break on WWE. And
Uh,
Vince McMahon's divisive return to WWE in recent months is now starting to spill over onto its live audience's reactions. Wrestling Inc. independently confirmed reports that the WWE NXT crowd began chanting Fire Vince during commercial breaks of Tuesday night's episode. Fire Vince chants on NXT programming. If that isn't a wake-up call to Ari, Emanuel, and Endeavor, I don't know what is, one fan tweeted, referencing the company WWE was sold to this week. At least two other users who appeared to be in attendance at the show also shared posts that said Fire Vince chants broke out. I do find it a little bit suspect that they did it during a commercial break. Like,
yeah,
own it and do it during a match, you fucking pussies. Like, if you're gonna put it out there, like, it's easy to say Fire Vince when nobody's listening.
yeah.
So,
It's one of those arguments
do you
where
think this is gonna? Do you think this might gain traction? We might start hearing that on SmackDown and Raw.
no, because Vince
Who's the
even said
superstar?
Vince does not give a flying fuck about us as fans. Like I think he's even said that it goes back to the old segment where I think it was Shane, Vince, Stephanie, and Triple H in the ring saying like, "We're gonna listen to the fans now." You fucking haven't because you don't give a shit about us. So fans can chant fuck Vince or fire Vince all they want, but at the end of the day, you're still gonna have those that when Vince makes his entrance, they're gonna be bowing to him and being like, "Yeah, this was the guy." You still got Enzo Amore dick riding him on Twitter as well, so
That guy is someone else.
because he was tweeting out stuff of like, yeah, Vince is the smartest businessman. He turned the 1 million into 9 billion and all this stuff. He's the smartest man. And all the replies were like, mate, stop dick riding him. You're not gonna get signed back.
You're not getting another job. It's a bit
Yeah.
like Adam Wessex, isn't it, with Tony Khan and
Yeah.
AEW.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
But-
that is the best fucking transition you'll ever get out of this shitty podcast. Tony Khan's very important announcement, which I swear to God he has it every week, is almost certainly the most ambitious event in the history of All Elite Wrestling. During Wednesday night's Dynamite, which of course took place last night when we're recording this, Khan alongside the freshly All Elite Nigel McGuinness. How do you let that guy go? That's heartbreaking. And Adam Cole revealed that AEW is reviving the All In brand for an event at London's 90,000-seater Wembley Stadium on Sunday, August the 27th, which, by the way, I was asked if I wanted to work that last night before AEW aired from a company, Coliseum. So, turns out we won't be working that day because AEW will debut in the United Kingdom and have its first show outside North America. Apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen. Tanvir, AEW, 90,000 people inside Wembley Stadium. They're looking to eclipse Clash at the Castle. Will they do it? And if they do, you think they can sell it out?
I think they will, because it's going to be such a huge event, and it's the first wrestling event in Wembley Stadium for 30 years.
It's the
Since
first
some,
one since SummerSlam '92, isn't it? And let's not
yeah,
forget it was in the old Wembley as well. This is the new one.
yeah. So I
A
think
stadium that has already had big boxing events, so it obviously is built for this kind of thing.
yeah, it's amazing. I'm absolutely tempted to go because I think I had a holiday booked around them, but I just told my friend, instead of 2 weeks, we'll make the holiday 1 week, so then we're both back in time to go to Wembley to see
I love
this.
that. Sacrifice some of our holiday so I can go and watch Orange Cassidy.
Not just Orange Cassidy, but it's
Pac should be in the main event, right?
yeah,
Has
Pac,
to be.
Pac or Jamie
Take Kip
Hayter.
Sabian, I'll kill you.
Pac, no, I was gonna say Pac or Jamie Hayter.
Jamie
Like
Hayter, I
maybe,
can call it. Yeah, fair enough.
yeah.
I think Pac should be in the main event for the title, and I
I
think
think
he should win it personally. But that's just my opinion.
I think the match they could have in the main event and absolutely be cool and be mind blowing and it'd be a women's match would be Jamie Hayter v Saraya for the AEW World Women's title. If that because if they could because we know the caliber of both of them, and if you put that match, it would be groundbreaking because it'd
Yeah,
be the two big UK stars, UK commodities in the biggest stadium in the UK. I think Wembley's still the biggest stadium in the UK.
yeah, it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
second biggest being Old Trafford, I think, which
yeah,
holds 6,000 in Manchester. So
yeah. So
yeah,
I think that would be cool to see. You'll more than likely have Nigel McGuinness on commentary, so that you have a UK
I hope
commentator as
so.
well.
I hope so. I think it would be
Yeah,
madness for him not to be on it. To be honest,
yeah.
yeah, I think you have that. You have obviously Saraya wrestling. You'll have obviously Jamie Hayter. Hopefully, you will have Pac, Kip Sabian, all these people. So great chance for the British
If
fans to get over. I
if
have to say it is very good business. Tickets go on sale pre-sale May the 2nd. And then, by the way, you have to pre-register on Ticketmaster for Great Britain. So if anyone is interested, you can pre-register there. And then also general sale tickets will go on sale on Friday, May the 5th. So you
yeah,
got a little bit of time to get ready at least. So you got about a
yeah.
month, ladies and gentlemen, to shore up. No idea what the prices are going to be. If they're smart, they'll make them extremely affordable and much cheaper than WWE.
We had this discussion in the group in a separate group chat, and I think that the baseline will be about like maybe 150, which I think
Well, you
like
think
for
that'll be the cheapest ones?
I think so because
Because the
given that
Clash
it's
at the Castle ones in the upper tier, there were some going for like 40 quid.
for 40.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll say cheap. I'll say cheapest then because it's 90,000 and you'll have like the noses. I think the cheapest will probably be around 60, 70 then.
It depends. I watch the American football there, and
Okay.
those tickets. So they're what I like about them is so the cheap seats are about 40, 50 quid at the back, but the most expensive seats are still only about 200 or 300 quid, and that's
Oh,
right
okay.
the one in the front. So if they did that, that'd be really good. But remember, that is including a giant field, not one little square in the middle.
Yeah.
So and obviously Club Wembley is like 6 or 7 grand per seat. So
Jesus.
you got to think that those tickets. And one thing I will say to people, if you're thinking, shit, I don't have the money right now, StubHub will have shit tons at a very cheap price, very close to the event. I can tell you this because I go to the NFL all the time over here, multiple stadiums, particularly Wembley, and there are always tickets that are worth like 130, 140 quid going for like 20 quid on the day if you're happy
Jesus.
to chance it. So but one thing I will say is if you want to get accommodation or whatever, I get in there
Yeah.
very quick because they are going to be expensive.
Yeah.
My
I've got
advice to you would be to stay in somewhere outside of London and get the training.
yeah.
You,
I've
you
got
live in London. Got any
yeah.
advice for the people?
For the people, I'd say that'll be fully booked, and maybe the wrestlers will book it. There's the Holiday Inn, which is right next to the stadium and the arena, which has a car park. So the wrestlers might be staying in there. Um, Box Park, lots of good food options, and you've got the Wembley outlet for some shopping.
I hate Box Park. It's so overrated. It's so expensive, man. Like
Yeah, certain places are expensive.
20 quid for a tiny ass like burger and chips.
I hate that because there are some decent places in the box park where you can get like reasonably priced food that's pretty decent. But then, like you just said, there are certain places in box park where it's like, yeah, 20 quid for a burger and chips, and you're like, what the fuck happened here? So I think I've got a question for you as well next. Do you think, given the success of All In at Wembley Stadium, do you think that would give WWE incentive to maybe run a SummerSlam or potentially in the future a WrestleMania in Wembley Stadium?
Yeah, like it depends on obviously how successful it is, but if I'm WWE, I'm sitting there, oh really? You want fucking Wembley? Right, that's it. We're gonna. If I'm surprised that like with the amount of money being thrown around, they should
Yeah.
build a stadium twice the size just to fucking shit on them. They should be like
Yeah.
Wembley 2.0, and it's like 180,000 people.
But we kind of had that with WrestleMania 32 in Texas when they're like, yeah, the maximum capacity for this building is 120,000. And
Yeah.
that was an utter shit show trying to get
That was the
people in.
worst WrestleMania I've seen in like the last 15 years as well. It was terrible mania.
Yeah,
Remember that? Remember Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar?
yeah.
What an absolute
There were only two good matches
the
on
ladder
there.
match, which
The ladder match and the women's triple threat.
yeah, which easily stole the show for me.
Yeah.
Easily. Yeah, no, fucking absolutely. I think it's good news, and I think what it does is it pushes. You can guarantee WWE will be all over Cardiff again. They'll be like, right,
Yeah.
fucking, we're barreling. It was very smart. Should be worth pointing out as well that I do believe that the Khan family, who obviously own Fulham Football Club and the Jacksonville Jaguars, did try to buy Wembley Stadium. I'm not sure if
Oh,
they
okay.
own a portion of it, but they did try and actually buy that
Yeah.
stadium because a lot of people suggested that maybe it could be Fulham's part-time home, which is ridiculous because they are averaging about 25,000 people. Behave yourself.
Exactly.
Be like, it's like when Leighton Orient wanted to play in the Olympic Stadium. I was like, yeah, all right then. When
Yeah,
you have
because
1,000 fans, maybe we'll talk about that.
yeah, because when all of us were, or majority of wrestling fans were saying about AEW running Craven Cottage, my friend who's a Fulham fan, and I think he recently went there, I asked him immediately, I'm like, you've just been to Craven Cottage, I've never been. Do you think it'll be a decent venue for wrestling? He said, nope. He said,
I've said this so many times.
yeah.
So like, my stepdad has been a Fulham fan for 60 years.
Oh, okay.
So I used to have a season ticket and go with him at times.
Okay.
I love going to Fulham. I've been to see Fulham play a lot. They're always like they're like my sort of second team.
Berbatov.
Yeah, I used to love him as well.
I
But
love
I
Berbatov.
I went to Spurs away with Fulham when Berbatov scored the only goal and we beat him on that. Funny.
I love Berbatov.
But yeah, no, I've been in Craven Cottage countless times, and even with the new stand that they've done on the Riverside, not a chance. It's a terrible place to put like wrestling on because even if it was full up, if it rains, everyone's fucked.
Yeah.
There's no cover there whatsoever.
So given with Wembley they're running wrestling, what other like football stadiums or like other stadiums do you reckon they could use for wrestling? Because do you think maybe potentially Tottenham or West Ham Stadium or maybe even the Emirates they use for wrestling in the future? Or
the Emirates is perfect for it because it does have that kind of bowlish kind of feel. The problem is that most of our stadiums don't have roofs.
that's true.
One place that would be really good, you would never get it to happen, is Wimbledon because they have a court. But the problem is that I think it only holds about 7,000 or 8,000. So it'd be great for like putting Raw or SmackDown on. Like for instance, Arthur Ashe Stadium, tennis stadium.
Oh, okay.
And that's what AEW uses.
Yeah.
You know, for the
Grand Slam. Yeah, they use Arthur Ashe for Grand Slam.
Yeah, exactly. So there is potential for something like that. The thing is, you've got because British weather is so dog shit for the most part. I mean, fucking we had thunderstorms here earlier. I don't know.
Yeah, we had stop start here because
April.
while we're at the wedding pre-event, we were like, okay, heavy rain, then it'll be sunshine for a bit, then heavy rain again. We're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, just Britain is but apparently climate change doesn't exist. Like we'll see about that when the Antarctic sinks, and then we'll see about the edge of the Earth, won't we? You flat Earth idiots! Like, yeah. When I see jokes on you, mate, because it turns out the Antarctica, when it melts, you're gonna see like another world, a parallel universe. I've seen it. I've been watching TikTok, mate. I know all about the conspiracies. Deep state. If I disappear after this podcast, you know why. Killed by the Illuminati for my rich blood. So they're not going to take Carl Wilkinson, are they? Because that's just pure diabetes.
They already took his legs.
The Illuminati is that our conspiracy. The Wrestle Plug conspiracy theory is that the Illuminati took Carl Wilkinson's legs.
They're like, you do this again, we'll take you all.
Why do I make such a fuss of trying to get more than 2 people on when me and you can just do this just fine? Everyone else can. If you're listening, Frankie T, Cameron Anderson, Carl Wilkinson, you're all fired. Fuck you all.
Cameron Anderson, you fuck. You
He's
bullshit,
a melt, isn't he?
But bullshit, you're busy. You're probably doing your Nuzlocke of Pokemon X and Y right now that you're trying to goad me into doing with you.
Yeah, he's giving his missus the Chromosome Buster 9000. That's what he's doing.
Chromosome Buster.
I just make up words now. You know, like the sloppy toppy 9000 Pecker Decker driver, like whatever it might be. Like,
no, that's the best. That's what I'm gonna call a blowjob now. It's like, oh, I love you. You're gonna give me the Pecker Decker 9000.
The Pecker Decker 9000. Yeah, that's what I'm copping that. That's my thing. I might call one of my wrestling moves when I return in June. Apparently,
nice.
I might do that. So, yeah. Anything you want to talk about, mate? Jay, obviously, we spoke about the fact that Nigel McGuinness is all elite. Jay White now officially all elite as well. Are you pleased about that? Are you hoping? I think AEW will do a good job by him?
I think they will do a good job by JY. I think my only worry is now with so many stars, like Adam Cole's just come back as well. Still awaiting on a potential Kyle O'Reilly return as well, and others. I think as amazing as ROH has been doing recently with the tapings and seeing the quality, and I think Tony Khan even said the difference with ROH and AEW is that ROH doesn't have really the TV time constraints and the ad breaks that AEW does. So you get to see ROH be incredible, which it has been. I mean, I think they've just announced a Shibata v Christopher Daniels for the Pure title, which will be amazing. Someone else who has also been announced as All Elite, which I'm absolutely pleased for and I adore him, was Willie Mack.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love Willie Mack
on this podcast, man. We used to hype him up like mad
from Damac when he was in Lucha Underground to the stuff he was doing with Rich Swann and Impact.
Going over with Rich? Is Rich going to be on Impact on AEW as well? Or
I think Rich Swann re-signed with Impact, which I mean, fair enough to him. I think him and Impact is good. I wish there were more eyes on Impact. I hope wish you get better soon, Josh Alexander.
He's going to be out for an indeterminable amount of months.
It was very classy what Speedball Mike Bailey was doing over Mania weekend. He was wearing a Walking Weapon jersey.
Those two have an intrinsic rivalry through Destiny and Canadian independent wrestling. They've wrestled each other so many times.
I want to talk about that quickly. Speedball Mike Bailey, 10 matches over 3 days for WrestleMania weekend. It seems that every WrestleMania weekend, there's a couple names that go around the mind, but it's usually Speedball Mike Bailey at the front. And yeah, he lost his the three big matches in one night against Tanahashi, Ibushi, and Irie. But it's just with Speedball, it's more about the match quality and also how good he looks. So I think in the future,
10 matches in 3 days.
Yeah, I think
unit.
I think after Steve Macklin wins the Impact belt against Kushida at Rebellion, because I think that's been it's been one of the lower but more of the better stories with Impact, the whole journey of Steve Macklin getting to this point.
Is he married to Deonna Purrazzo?
Yes, he is.
You lucky bastard.
Yeah, how did Marty Scurll fumble that?
Maybe we shouldn't mention that name and fumble in the same sentence.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This is one for the lawyers, isn't it? I can't be asked to edit it, so I apologize in advance for anyone
who all right.
Don't like it, don't listen.
Yeah, I think after Steve Macklin, I think Speedball Mike Bailey should be the Impact champ, because
more like Steve Macklemore, am I right? Yeah.
If
I don't know where that joke leads, but somebody make jokes up for me about it.
If Speedball Mike Bailey is allowed, I'd love to see him in because he's done Japan before. I'd love to see him in Best of Super Juniors this year as well, mixing up with the likes because of Ishimori, getting to see him and Ace Austin in Japan as well. Mix it up, Alex Zane. fun matches with Taguchi and all the among others. Francisco Achira, TJP. I think best of the Super Juniors this year as well as last year. Depending on the lineup, it'll be better than the G1 Climax because the thing with the G1 Climax last year was that they split it up into 4 blocks, and as fun as it was, Super Juniors just had the better lineup of 2 blocks, but so many surprises. Like you had Wheeler Yuta there, you had El Lindemann, Ace Austin, TJP making a return, Francisco Akira. So I think best of Super Juniors this year and the junior division will be ruling New Japan and as well as other companies.
Do you think the best of the Super Juniors should be sponsored by the music of Shawada Wadi?
Well, I mean, Dan Maloney's going to be, it might be in Super Junior, so he can wave the banner.
Oh, really? Oh, father. No way is Dan Maloney a Super Junior.
That was
fucking humongous.
Because Robbie Eagles joined TMDK, and he even said, it's like, I think United Empire are a bit bummed that I joined TMDK because Dan Maloney joined United Empire, and they think he's going to be like that kind of Shingo Takagi or Show type junior when they were, where it's like they're light but they're like huge, so they are technically juniors due to their weight, but they're absolute horses.
He's gonna fucking murder that division.
Whereas with Shingo, the issue with Shingo was that he was a junior heavyweight for a year, but the whole time you saw Shingo, you're like, this dude's a fucking heavyweight, no way. Whereas with Dan, at least like with the abs and his muscles and the way he looks, it's similar to like Show's physique, where
Man is stacked.
Whereas like Show is ripped, but you can understand why he's a junior.
Yeah. I think they should have an actual best of Super Juniors where you have to be of junior age. And like the winner has to face Minoru Suzuki or something for a laugh.
What the young
some 14-year-old squares up to him. Just not that I'm obviously advocating for the abuse of young people on this podcast, but ultimately I do hate children. So like you know what? The odd chop never hurt anybody. It's certainly it's character building.
What chop we talking about?
Yeah, well, no, just no. Listen, now then. Insert GIF here. Yeah, that GIF is fucking hilarious and also terrifying in equal measure. It's not as bad as the dinner time meme, though, is it? Come on. that is some dog shit. Yeah, so oh yeah, by the way, Dante Martin absolutely murdered himself. Did you see that?
Yeah, I feel sorry for Dante.
What do you think about it? Let me ask you a question. Do you think like this proves that people shouldn't be doing this stupid shit?
No, because it's been done in the past and it was fine. I think with spots like this, it's just freak accidents. It was similar, but in no way the same. Was it Psycho Sid, the Sid leg, the Sid Stanky leg? It was on that level.
Stanky leg.
Yeah, with the Sid Stanky leg from back in the day. That was just like a jump. And his leg just buckled. Whereas this, you saw the Canadian Destroyer and the way the foot landed. So I think this one was a bit of a freak accident.
He must be well offended by the Hotline Bling dance.
I think the issue with it though is that, and I really feel sorry for Top Flight because it feels like Darius was injured, Dante got his singles run.
Looks like Top Flight's being grounded. No. Also, can we all just appreciate the irony of the Arab man on the podcast making jokes about planes? Fucking, this podcast is out of control. This is what happens when you allow the ethnics to run the podcast with no white people. It just gets worse.
Yeah. Luckily, there were no twin tag teams in that match.
Not touching that. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Before any other business, by the way, so April the 30th, Coliseum. Check it out. It's going to be at the Stanley Arts Centre in London, which is going to be a good laugh. So if you're in the capital or around that region, it's easy to get to. Come on down. Near Norwood Junction, I believe. Or Norwood Junction, actually, is the Stanley Arts Centre. It's a cracking little venue. There's going to be standing and seating tickets available, which is fucking awesome. And the standing tickets will be right next to the bar. I have it on good authority. So
nice.
Yeah, it should be a good laugh. Stacked card. They just announced my girl, Nadia Sapphire. the People's Princess. She'll be in the house at a triple threat match. Watch out, ladies. She's against Livy Grace and Karama, which is fucking awesome.
Nice.
Those two ladies are fucking spectacular.
Is it going to be because I enjoyed the triple threat from the last show, but it was a bit of a mess because it wasn't explained that was an elimination triple threat.
Yeah, so if I was the MC, this would have been explained. Look at you, Silent Mark. Oh wait, Jesse was the MC. He was just the host. Look at you, Jesse. Don't kill me, Rory, please. Yeah. Shout out to my boy Big Wave, mate. Can we just talk about the fact that the 8-7, Roy Johnson and Alexander Roth will be facing KM Lane and Sami Zayn?
That'd be a banger. This is a certified club classic.
Yeah. Like Joel Redmond versus he used to be known as Jack Starr, is now known as Selkstrom.
Was he the guy who took the Walter chop in like
That's
the first
him,
NXT UK and his chest looked like he literally got a handprint from God?
Yeah. He's facing Joel Redmond in this show. That is a
Jesus
banger. That is gonna be.
That'd be good.
Yeah, that's going to be an absolute saucy contest. Raven Reed will be making her debut.
I saw Shaw Samuels is there, isn't he, as well?
Oi, East. Yeah, he was at the last show and he faced oh god, I'm gonna get in trouble. Theodoros. And yeah, like, by the way, another amazing. I mean, this is the thing, right, with Coliseum, and this is why I want it to be successful, because yes, we know that they haven't had as good houses. The first one I thought was pretty decent for a first show. Second one, abject failure. I'm sure anyone would agree with that. Like, there wasn't enough people there, which is a shame, and also the venue wasn't really cognizant of professional wrestling. But I honestly will test anyone. Find a more stacked and more unique and diverse card than Coliseum has in this country. Like, I'm glad I'm not paying for it because holy shitballs. And I just love the fact that it's like, we need to get all these world-class wrestlers in. And then somebody went, let's get that fat guy from WrestlePlug to do the commentary. That is incredible.
It's all about opportunity.
It is. You know what? Eventually, if you work hard enough and people see me and they think, oh, there's the dickhead from the podcast playing a gimmick, which, well, actually, people don't think it's a gimmick. They think it's real. And it's obviously I'm playing a gimmick. Come on. But it's that thing of, you know what? People don't see all the work that goes. People like Tanvir do, because he's been amazing. He's been one of my best friends and super supportive of me. But people don't see all the work that goes into what I do.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm fucking desperate to share that with someone I love, you know? Because it's that thing of, you know, people just don't get it. They don't see the amount of work that goes in. So, you know, Coliseum, April 30th, that's going to be good. I do have a sneaky bit of surprise news for you. June 24th, IWE will return, confirmed. They're not until September the 30th for their next show, June 24th. June the 3rd, BCD's next show, and I can officially announce it will be called The Boys of Summer.
Is it? I'll understand if that is called Boys of Summer if bromance is confirmed for the card.
So apparently Cameron Anderson will not be available for this show.
What the fuck? Cam, what are you doing, you cunt?
He's such what are you doing, you cunt? He's such a mel, isn't he? He just keeps dropping out of all these shows.
If you have Cruz and
time now, apparently he turned down the opportunity to work for Rumble.
What?
Apparently he's injured. Yeah, sure you are. Yeah, fucking injuring that dick.
He did say, because I sent him a pic yesterday of what I was doing at the gym, that I was finally able to I upped my dumbbell bench press up to 40 kg.
So you can dumbbell bench. What's your standard bench press?
Standard bench, my PB before was 110. I just got back up to 105, so I'm like real proud of it. My height, I'm 5'6".
He's 5'6" and he can bench 110 kg. I can bench about 60 at the moment, and that's a real strain for me. That being said, I don't train and I do not look after myself. I spend most of my time eating sugar. So I'm just going for the Carl Wilkinson legs record at this point.
Yeah, because Cam, when I sent Cam that, he immediately messaged back. He's like, "Nice one, mate, but his shoulder is fucked because of wrestling training." He's like, yeah, his shoulders like need some recovery. So
it depends, doesn't it? Everyone's got different workouts. For me, I like nice low reps and then just bang out as many as possible until I'm knackered.
I'm on his ass about conditioning because he said he only does like half a deck of cards. I'm like, mate, you've got to do like a full deck, because the thing is, it's like you can do all the weights in the world, but
If you do a full deck, would you say that it's better to do that than bother, and then don't bother with like a treadmill or a cross trainer?
I'd
All
say
your cardio through the deck.
so I usually start so that I feel a bit warm. I do about like 25-30 minutes of cross trainer so that my body feels warm and I get to like watch a bit of like a film or something. So that way I'm like,
Then you do the deck.
yeah, and then I do the deck with just listening to music. So I'd
What's
say
your record time for a deck?
my record time, I'm averaging out now about like 15 minutes per deck.
15 per
Yeah.
deck. What's
So I do about three. So I try to do like 2 to 3 deck of cards. So I'll
you
do it.
2 or 3?
So I'll do like a
You
deck
must
of
have a gas tank like a fucking Ferrari.
Yeah. So I do like a deck of
I can't
cards.
do. I can barely do one, and it takes me about 40 minutes.
I'll do a deck of cards, then I'll just like do a bit of planking on the sides, and then I'll have like a 2-3 minute break and then do another deck. And it takes me about like between like 15-16 minutes to get a deck in.
Jesus Christ, you really need to be a wrestler with that gas tank. Like,
And I know, and I suggested a
right.
because I
Seriously, because I'll tell you what, right? For me, if anyone said to me, "What's the most important thing about being a wrestler?" Yeah, there's all kinds of things you need to do or need to know. And when so many people, like for instance, I'm amazing at being a shithouse, good talker, good heel, but I'm never going to be a great athlete. I'm powerful-ish, but I'm not one of these guys who's going to have an Iron Man. I'm just not. But I would say the one thing is if you've got great cardio, you'll do fine. Like that's the hardest thing for me by far is the cardio.
There were 2 things I learned from listening to podcasts. It was that Beer City Bruiser said, "Be in ring shape," but what that means is be in shape to do your shit. Because if you're not in shape to do your shit and you're gassed out, you need to get back and work
Yeah,
on it.
because he's a fucking. You look at him and you think, no way, and he can go.
Yeah.
It's not about being able to go for like an hour and a half. It's about being able to go for the match that you do.
Yeah.
If you can do that, you're okay. So there's different gas tanks. So, interesting enough, people Mike Bailey told quite a few guys on seminar. I heard about this. He said that he doesn't think cardio is that important as long as you're clever enough to find spots where you can breathe.
Yeah.
So
that was the other
guy who is a rapid whip-it.
That was the other bit of advice I was gonna say was that when it was a Samoa Joe and the Steve Austin podcast, and I think Stone Cold asked him, "How are you able to go so long given your size?" And Samoa Joe just looks at me and says, "Got to learn how to breathe, brother." And you see Austin pop like, "Thank you, my man." Of like, I've been wanting someone to say that. Of like, you can do all the cardio in the world, learn how to fucking breathe.
Yeah, do you know what? There's loads of things on YouTube that will teach people how to breathe better and stuff like that. It's something I really struggle with. I always blow myself up selling. I don't blow myself up doing the moves. I blow myself up selling because I'm so intense. But and I'm like, just and then I feel myself I'm like, just fucking relax, like fucking breathe. Feel like the problem. Don't go over the top with it.
It was one thing that I might invest in that I saw that I think that he sent to a lot of. It was a Boss Rutan's breathing thing. Because I think like Jeff Cobb and Minoru Suzuki were using it. And I saw it and I'm like, yeah, that looks like it'd be fucking difficult to use.
Baz Rutan is a fucking animal, isn't he?
Yeah. I still love his podcast with Austin because they were talking about their hair, about how they had.
I love the fact he plays the coked up lunatic on GTA 4's TV.
Oh, does he? That's pretty cool.
He's so funny. He's just like, you got 2 lines, and then if you're a woman, you gotta smash her in the face and all this. I'm like, whoa.
That's gotta be like one of the.
I'm like, I recognize that voice, and then you find out it's fucking Baz Rutan. Like,
that's gotta be like one of the cooler cameos.
Yeah, there's some good shit there. There is some good shit. Right. Any other business? Anything you want to talk about before we wrap up?
I went and saw a show on Tuesday night that I think you and me talked about. It's called Allegiance, and it's the George Takei theatre production.
Oh my!
Which was
no, you haven't mentioned it to me.
It was really good, really historical, talking about like how when Pearl Harbor happened, what happened to the Japanese, like American
Japanese, right, or of Japanese descent.
Yeah, of Japanese descent. And what happened to them about how they were sent to separate camps and like Filton and all that, and how they were wanting to fight for the country to prove themselves. But my first thought was because it was in a nice theatre called the Charing Cross Theatre. We walked in there, I saw the size of the theatre and I saw the stage, and immediately I was like, I might need to recommend this place to Nadia because it would be a pretty nice venue for Colosseum.
Oh, we'd love to start running more London gigs. You know what? That's what I love about Coliseum, like especially doing this London gigs. It's so like for me, London has always been Progress and Red Pride, and that's it. Like nobody else goes there. So to work in London is one of the coolest experiences in
Yeah,
wrestling.
I
Like because
think
it is the capital, like and it's a
did
big deal.
Nadia ever get in contact with the cockpit? Because I think it was Adam who went to the cockpit for I think one of like the Viking shows that I think
Oh,
Charles
what,
Clark.
the Mythos Ragnarok
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, Mythos. I think Adam
Yeah, so
went
my
there.
Darcy Stone's in there, who I
Oh,
fucking
nice.
adore so much.
Yeah,
He's one of the coolest people in wrestling.
yeah. I think it was Adam,
The
Ewan.
Crowley.
Yeah, I think it was Adam, Ewan, Nick. They went, and Adam, when I met up with him, he said cockpit are missing wrestling shows being run. So
Really?
yeah, I think at the first
Why is it not there anymore? What happened?
I really don't know,
Because
which is
that's
a
a
bit
great
dumb.
little venue. Like
Yeah, I
maybe
think
I
it.
don't know whether the price of it is too hectic because it is quite
Yeah,
small. So
I think maybe it was just RevPro becoming a bit big for its boots and being like maybe we need to run a
they
bigger
run the
venue.
229 now, don't they? Like,
Yeah. So I think I suggested it at the first Coliseum show to Nadia of like maybe inquire if you're gonna do London shows, inquire
tell you
about the
what, mate.
cockpit.
Well, Nadi's going to be on this one, so make sure you make yourself. I'll tell you what, mate. With your gas tank, you need to go to training, bro. Like,
And
seriously.
I suggested to
I would
Cam because
recommend. Have you seen Play Fight? Highly
I
recommend.
was gonna mention it because I looked on their grade one of like when the grade one
So I'm
courses
going to
run,
start with the
and
core FW game. So
I think it's Tuesdays and Saturdays, and I messaged Cam. I'm like, if I can work this into my schedule and my funds, I will absolutely go to
my
Play
boy
Fight.
Mansfield helps train down there as well.
Nice. I think
Well,
yeah, I think I jumped into one of Bunny Mallow's streams for Pokemon and
yeah,
we were
sure.
chatting.
You jumped into that stream for Pokemon, I'm sure. Yeah.
We
Oh wait,
got
you got misses now, haven't you? You got to behave
yeah,
yourself.
yeah, we were chatting and she said yeah, she trained that play fight for a bit and she found it really good. There's Hustle
You know
Wrestle.
what? Has Bunny Mallow just stopped wrestling because I don't see her
I
anymore.
don't know, yeah, I don't see her either. I don't know what's happened there.
He's one of the quirkiest and funniest podcasts I've ever done.
Yeah. There's Hustle Wrestling as well, but I don't
Hustle's
know about
great.
that.
Sid Scala School. That's
Yeah.
Take Mayfair's trains out of there. Like
Yeah, 'cause I think my friend currently trains there as well, and he said, yeah, it's going pretty good there. Trying to think of like other prevalent like London-based wrestling because there
whatever
was
works for you, mate. At the end of the day.
there
By the way,
wasn't
what are you doing this Saturday? By the way,
this Saturday. I've got the wedding reception.
I'm in a Slough on Saturday. Thought
Oh,
I'd swing by and say hello or something.
yeah, I've got the wedding reception at 4 in the afternoon, and that's in central London.
Mate, can I get an invite?
I mean, you could crash it if you
Can
want.
you
I don't,
imagine me rocking up dressed like this? Like, what up,
if,
bitches? I brought the Bud Light.
it'd be amazing. You brought the butts.
just that. I don't drink at all, ladies and gentlemen, by the way.
Yeah.
So I just shouted Bud Light for the sake of it.
There'll be about like 4 or 5 of us just see you and be like, we've got to get that man on our shoulders. We've got to get that man on our shoulders.
Can you imagine what doing the bar mitzvah thing with the chair? Fuck that
Yeah.
noise. £300, pal.
Yes, I think my brother-in-law's friend Chris, who I think's about maybe your height or Alex Delanzo's height, we and he's about Alex's size as
We
well.
need to get Alex back on this podcast,
Yeah.
don't we?
We saw him at the wedding on the dance floor, and me and my best mate looked at each other. It's like we've got to get him on our fucking shoulders. So we
Is that
went
like
up.
a thing? Is it like get
Yeah,
guys on the shoulders at least?
we went up to him, got him up, and partying. Then we got him back down, and he told us afterwards that he felt like he felt really bad because he felt like it was inappropriate. And we're like, no, you were fine. It's not inappropriate at all. It's an Indian wedding where you're gonna lift people up. It doesn't fucking matter.
I imagine I'll be doing a lot of lifting at an Indian wedding. Like everyone will
Yeah.
just be like, "You large man, pick me up." Like, oh, another one. Like, where's all the honeys at, man? I imagine Indian weddings are not a nightmare to pull.
Some of them are because the thing is, me and my auntie, we were talking about this morning because we were just confirming times for tomorrow morning because we were told it's like get here for like 7 in the morning, 7:30, and she's like, oh, if you're running late for 8 o'clock, just head straight to the temple. But then her daughter, who's getting married, chimed in, and she's like, no, it's my fucking wedding. Everyone needs to be here for 7:30.
I ain't
So
fucking with the angry bride, mate.
yeah. So we were like, okay, we're following her. My auntie was immediately like, yeah, don't listen to me, listen to her. So we're like, okay, we're all getting here for 7:30. Told everyone. So yeah, Indian
How
weddings,
much are these things? They must be outrageous.
they are a lot, especially because I think the thing is, as much as I love my niece, I'm dreading the day because it's gonna happen of like when she's older and getting married. Because usually it's like if you're an Indian uncle, it's the uncle who contributes to the wedding for like the female. So I'm like,
Oh, really?
yeah, so I'm like, I'm gonna be contributing to the wedding, ain't I? I'm
So
gonna be like,
you
Jesus
take off.
Christ.
Well, so you get the Jinder Mahal's level pretty zone, bud.
Yeah, OnlyFans coming
How old
soon.
is she?
My niece right now is turning 8 months on Saturday.
Oh, so you got a long time.
I
Like,
got a long time,
yeah,
but it'll
fucking
fly
save
by.
it now, then, bruv.
Yeah, it'll fly by before I know it. To be honest.
Yeah, and I'll be dead by then. Fucking hell.
No, you won't. I'm keeping.
Probably.
No, you
We're
won't.
getting up. We're getting up there in years. I'm starting to get old, man. It's terrifying.
No, you know, you're only 38, right?
But I'm only, you say only, like my body's about 58 there. I
Oh,
took some bumps at BCD. I thought I went
yeah.
through my drills and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I woke up the next day like, oh, fuck. Like, it's just like shit. It's you got it. If you anyone who thinks, oh yeah, I get into wrestling, do it every day. Yeah,
Yeah.
every time you can train, do it. Even if
Yeah.
you just like get into a wrestling ring and just bump about 10 times, try and get it done every day. Because once you
I
can do
think
great.
I
But,
think the thing that got me the most with the wrestling wasn't taking the bumps because bumping I absolutely loved. I was like, yeah, back bump, front bump, flip bump. My flip bumps were a bit iffy, but that's because
yeah, mine are. I'm one
I'm
of
not
those people. I can only front flip bump if
yeah,
somebody gives me like a.
yeah,
They don't even have to give me a lift, but I need that kind of security.
yeah,
So I always go. That's why I always say to someone like I'll say to Cam or Chris, give us a fucking hip toss, and then I'll bang, and I'm over.
yeah. Because I think that was the awesome thing about Francisco and Mambo when they traded me because they saw me like being a bit hesitant with my flip bumps. They're like, "Yeah, you don't like flipping, do you?" And I was like, "Not really." And they're like, "Well, you're gonna have to, but take your time." And then I think every now and again they'll be like, "Okay, do you want us to hip toss you so you can do the flip bump?" I'm like, "Yes, please." Because
Yeah.
it's like you hip toss me, I'll do a bump, but like just doing that like natural flipping because I don't like flipping or they'll be like, okay, we'll pull out the mat for you so that you're not bumping onto like the canvas of like risking your head injury if you're a bit hesitant. You flip onto the mat. So it's like so that's why Francisco's an amazing trainer. I think the thing that pissed me off more with wrestling, but surprised me as well, was rope running of like when like the ropes are super out. I'm like that fucking hurts. I'm not used to this.
It does. It stings like shit. What people
Yeah.
realize is because there's only really two types of rope. There's actual ropes and then there's cables, which are
Yeah.
wrapped. And the cables that are wrapped came like fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
Because bumping I kind of got used to because we were doing break falls in karate and like a little bit of judo.
so
So
you
I'm
got
like,
like a yeah,
yeah,
like it's very, but like for anyone who's listening, bumping is very similar to jiu-jitsu break falls.
yeah,
Like very similar. It's that
yeah,
kind of spread out the impact. I enjoy bumping. I
yeah,
do. I'm not very good at like the intricate bumps. Like I don't. I'm not very, like headstand and then bump and
yeah,
flip bump, but just standard bumps and side bumps.
yeah,
I don't have a problem with it. I like it, especially when you're a big guy. You hit hard. Like whenever I bump, everyone always goes "fucking hell" because it's
yeah,
like the land mass of it just hitting. But it's fun, but it takes a lot. It does take a toll, and
yeah.
you don't realize how harsh it is until you meet the older guys.
Yeah.
I've seen Doug Williams
Seeing,
in locker rooms, and
I was gonna mention Doug Williams. Seeing is at the Royal Rumble viewing party we went to, and my brother hadn't seen Doug before, and I think I had, and he was like, "Yeah, seeing Doug walk around looks fucking painful." Like because just the way he drags his ankles, he was like, "Yeah, Doug just looks in a lot of pain," but
yeah, I
but
think
because from the years of wrestling.
he like somebody it's I was talking to my stepdad about this. So my stepdad used to live right next to Newcastle United's football ground.
Yeah.
And he used to live up there at the time when Peter Beardsley was a big deal. He used to live in the same road as Peter Beardsley.
Oh, okay.
And he said that Peter Beardsley, like even like sort of in his mid-30s, he was still incredible. He was like just incredible footballer. He looked like Quasimodo. It was ridiculous. Not a good-looking man in the slightest, but he was an incredible footballer. But he said that every day that he saw him when he would come back from training, he could barely fucking walk. He was just
Yeah.
like fucked. But he just some people are able to, and Doug's like that. I think Doug just turns it on. Like he's
Yeah.
just. We saw him at Coliseum, and I thought, fuck. And I must admit, like Doug will kill me if he hears this, but like before that match that I commentated, him and Joel versus Theodoris and Leighton Buzzard.
Yeah.
I was sitting there thinking, "God, you know what? Doug's in amazing shape, but can he still go? Like, I must
Yeah.
admit, I thought, he's not going to be able to go. And he was fucking rapid. I was like,
It
this guy in his
Doug's
50s, like,
Doug's got that kind of like gold dust Kojima Tenzon vibe to him. Or it's like, especially Tenzon, because you see Tenzon now in New Japan walk to the ring and he's dragging his ankles, which like Doug kind of does when he's walking. And you think it's like, can these guys still go? And it's like Tenzon can still go, but he's kind of limited in what he can do.
yeah.
Whereas like Doug can still go, man.
What year were you born, Tanvir?
I was born 1999.
Let's get it. 6 years before that, Doug Williams made his debut.
Damn.
1993. Yeah, I was 8 when Doug Williams made his
My sister was born then, 93.
30 years of professional wrestling. Same as Adam Mansfield, who's 46, I believe, and looks about
Jeez.
76.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has not aged well. No, I'm joking.
Ace Austin, I think today celebrated 8 years in wrestling because he said he debuted in 2015.
I mean, I've been in the business for about 6, so
Yeah.
and to be honest, that's long enough.
Yeah.
No, I do love it. It's testing, and sometimes it can be, as you know, from the group chats, like there's some really nasty shit that people say, and you know what? Sometimes it does weigh on you, but it's one of those things. The more you put into it, the more you get from it, and it's rewarding. And I'm starting to do a lot more stuff like media commentary and that. Like I'm now the commentator for IWE, BCD,
Nice.
and Wrestling Society, which is cool. Nardi said I could do the comms for that.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Once you start doing that, and like my next goal is to hopefully squeeze in some Rumble stuff as well, because then it's like all of a sudden your voice is everywhere. And it's amazing how quick you can go from a nothing to an everything in wrestling. You can really find just in like I would say to people, if you're sitting there thinking, oh, I feel too old or I'm not physically good, there's so many things you can do in wrestling. You don't have to be in there taking bumps or flying around. We need managers, valets, sound technicians, videographers, photographers. There's not enough of any of these.
Yeah.
That's how I get. So when people say to me, how come you work everywhere in wrestling? It's like, because I can do everything. That's why.
Yeah.
Learn to do everything. And then you'll always have work.
You're a multifaceted, and talented man.
Thank you. It's very kind. But it's my advice to people is, you know what? I get it. We all want to be the star. We all want to be in there. And yeah, it's nice for me to be in there from time to time. But I'm one of those guys. I have a match and I think, now I know why I like doing videography every weekend and not this. Because it can be quite.
It's like your poster that you made of like the unsung heroes of Brit Wres. It's like there are like so many multi-talented people, but because they're not in the ring, they kind of like just off to the side.
Yeah, that's why I made that poster, really, to kind of celebrate the fact that there's so many people who people don't realize that when they get into this business, like everything makes a show work. Like doing photography last night, for instance, it's that thing of, we're all kind of just in this like unit.
Yeah.
And I think it is very much that teamwork makes teamwork makes the dream work.
Because I think one guy who was absolutely an unsung hero before he like made it big was Robin for Beyond Gorilla, the photographer.
Yeah, he was amazing.
He's
him and Ollie were like, because I believe he was Ollie's apprentice.
Yeah.
But it's that thing of like, it's still to this day, if I say to people, I can go out to a wrestler, right, and I can say, ask them multiple questions, who's a good wrestler, and they could stand there for an hour and tell me 100 people. If I go out to them and say, who are the best videographers and photographers in this, I guarantee they won't get past 5 names.
Yeah.
Because they're just using that many. And there is actually a lot more than you think. It's like referees. I can name 20 or 30 amazing referees. Most wrestlers probably can't.
Yeah.
And if they can, good, because they should be able to. But it's that thing of we sleep on these people so much.
Yeah.
You get to see, I'm really hoping, for instance, we had Sandy Beaches as a referee at the last Coliseum show. She's amazing. She's Rise's referee, as he's Scott Graham Bell. You've got Chris Hatch, who does Progress. And
it was one of those, it's kind of one of those unwritten rules in wrestling, in that any show that you work, make sure you say hi or shake hands with everyone, because everyone makes the show work.
Even now, so I always make a point of doing the rounds and saying hello, respect. Yeah. But I'm amazed at how many people don't come and say hello to me.
Because if you if you forget someone's name and it happens, it's because I admit this all the time. I'm dreadful with names, but if you say hi to someone and like make the effort, they'll appreciate that more. They'll remember that more than you forgetting their name. of that. Like, yeah, this guy didn't need to take his time out of his day to say hi. He could have just focused on his match, done something else, but he took the time out. It kind of reminds me of what just happened with Keanu Reeves on the set of John Wick, where the video was doing the rounds of like him carrying the production equipment for the guys. Of like, yeah,
He's just next level, isn't he? And he's
yeah,
like, he's just so smooth. That's a guy who's
yeah,
just giving it all. He gives back. Like, and if
yeah,
you're making shitloads, give back.
yeah,
I always remember doing Progress Ring Crew, and we were just dragging the beams in, minding our own business.
yeah,
And some of the guys said hello. Like, all of them, to be fair, said hello during the day at some point. But while we were setting up, there were two guys. Jordan Devlin turned up, walked up to every single person, said, "Hi, my name's Jordan Devlin," shook every single person's hand.
yeah,
Blew my mind because at the time he was really becoming a big deal.
yeah.
And now he's on NXT. But the guy that always stood out to me, I get this tap on the shoulder. And it's like, "Hey, buddy, how's it going?" It's Angelico, just stood there. And he'd recognized me.
Angelico's amazing.
Yeah,
Love
and he'd
it.
recognized me from Riptide. And then I saw him at another Progress show I went to like a month later as a fan. And he was like, mate, come over. And we were like chatting by the merch table. He's like, "Oh, how's it going? How's your wrestling training going, man?" Like, people like that, when they
Yeah,
do that, that means the world to you. It
yeah,
keeps you going. It pushes you forward, man.
yeah.
Remember who you're working with, because you might see them
Yeah.
on the way back down.
I still remember going to Strong Style Evolved in 2018 and meeting Kevin Kelly and asking him of like what it takes to be a good commentator. And straight away he was like, even if you don't pursue it, he gives you the advice, and that's what I love about like certain
Hey,
wrestlers.
you know what? I said this the other day. So I got to speak to Kevin Kelly at the TV takings for a pro.
Yeah.
And at the time, it's amazing. Like, I'd love to like message him now and be like, just so you know, like I'm actually starting to achieve stuff because of people like you who gave me that advice.
He's
Should do that
really
at some point.
responsive on Twitter. Kevin
Well,
Kelly's
I
really
messaged him and I said, or no, I didn't message him. I actually went up to him personally. I said, "Kevin, just first of all, amazing. I love you. He's why I love New Japan in the first
yeah,
place, the voice of it. And it's that thing. But I said to him, like, I'm really interested in getting his commentary. And I always remember him saying one thing to me. He said, no matter what you do, be authentic and have your own content. Don't fucking be the next Michael Cole. Don't try and be the next Wallet. Don't try and be me. Be you and put
yeah,
your spin on it." And that's what I do at Coliseum. People have always said to me, "Like, you make these jokes that I've never heard before and stuff like that." I was like, "That's my material. I've written
yeah,
that down." Little things like he's getting battered like a 2 pound, chip shop cod. Things like
yeah.
that. Those are lines that I've written down and thought of. Because I want people to kind of think it's an Aeron Nix thing.
There's one line in wrestling that can translate to almost every facet of it, of like whether you're a manager. Be yourself, but turn it up to 11.
Yeah. That's the thing they'll teach you when it comes to character or anything that's character driven and personality driven. It absolutely is. Yeah, I think that's a good place to leave it because that's very sound advice. Yeah, Tanvir, thank you very much for joining us on the State of Wrestling Address. Is there anything you'd like to say to the people who didn't bother to turn up for work?
Please come next time. Just because you're not being paid doesn't mean you don't turn up for work.
Fuck you, Frankie. You little bitch. You and your little fucking goth pussy partner. I'm gonna fucking kill both of you.
Kyle, you're forgiven because you don't have legs.
Yeah, exactly. Like, do you know how hard it is for that man just to crawl down to the basement and get in front of a green screen? Like,
do you know how hard it is for him to smoke a jar of weed
it's
now?
even more terrifying when you realise that his legs are eaten by his own mother.
She just saw it and was just like, you know what would go with, you know what would go nicely with those legs? Some maple
Look
syrup.
at this insulin. Oh dear.
Look at this insulin.
I'm gonna listen to that song like 3 or 4 times over when I get off this podcast.
Look at this photo. Are you gonna do that while looking at Noddy's OnlyFans? Look at this photograph.
I don't. I'm not a subscriber to Nadia's OnlyFans. Actually,
neither am I. But she is a beautiful lady.
However, there is a member of the Wrestle Plugger gang who is. I should not out them. But
we know it's you, Mark. We know it's you.
Yeah, yes, definitely, Bobby. Cameron Anderson. Whoopsie daisy. But yeah, but that being said, for anyone who does fancy looking at a very beautiful human being, Nadi Sapphire is a great OnlyFans and it's very affordable. So check it out. It's why not? Some sex work is still work, man. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
And for everyone who's not in the know but can kind of work it out from the beginning of this podcast, everyone cross your fingers for me. So all of you. God, please, I'm begging you. So yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed I'll have even better news in my life going forward. But yeah, that'll be it, ladies and gentlemen. As always, I always say this. I know nobody's listening, but at WrestlePlug, if you want to send us stuff, I'd love to hear what you guys' opinions are on all this news. So if anyone's watching this or listening to this, send an email to wrestleplug@gmail.com. Send it to Tanvir on Twitter or to me personally, or send us out at WrestlePlug. Let us know what you think. What do you think about WWE being bought out by Endeavor? What do you think about Vince McMahon's pedo mustache? All that kind of stuff. Like, just we never really touched on it. What the fuck is going on with the old Vincent Price over there?
I love the edit someone made of him as M. Bison.
Yeah, and that really, yeah.
And then I commented on good brother Nick. I commented on his Facebook post. The day McMahon Bison visited your company was the greatest day in your life, but for me it was Monday, and it popped so many people. They're like, yeah.
That's why do you remember I did that on my birthday, because I don't really like my birthday and I was on my own, and so I just went, the day that Aeron Nix was born was the most important day of your life, but for me it was Tuesday. Because it was on Tuesday. I was like, mate. No one will ever beat the guy. I can't remember his name now. Raul something.
Yeah, Raul Julia, who played.
No one will ever beat Raul. They will never beat his Gomez, and they will never. A greater villain than M. Bison.
Yeah, it was the fact too that at the same time, I think he had cancer, and he told his daughters that he was going to be in Street Fighter, and they kind of like egged him on, like, please do it. And so he did it, and then I think after
incredible, he made that feel like he should have won an Oscar just for that.
Yeah, I know we're
he's up there with Heath Ledger as one of the all-time great villain depictions.
I know we're meant to be closing off, but they did announce that they might be doing another live-action Street Fighter. And the thing is, I'm like, if they do it, Raul Julia, whoever plays M. Bison, has such a tough job.
Yeah, like I'd rather almost do something completely away from that canon so that we don't have to, because I just don't think anyone's going to touch that. I'm trying to think, who the fuck plays Guile now?
Because in the original it was Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, and he's old now. Right? So he's still, to be fair, he's in amazing shape, but he's aged. So, because Kylie Minogue played Cammy, and she was, by the way,
did she? Have you seen the Cammy art for Street Fighter 6?
I haven't, no. Isn't there Zelina Vega in that?
No, she cosplayed as a jury for Royal Rumble.
I was hoping that she was actually going to be like a part of it. Like,
if she is as like one of the voices or something, maybe on commentary or like one of the
Ronda Rousey's the voice of Sonya in Mortal Kombat.
So. Yeah, and not the best voice acting performance.
No, do you know what? I agree. I actually agree. I love Ronda Rousey, but I must admit her voice acting was very kind of. But then Sonya's always been very kind of, middle of the road, white American, like meh, bit bland, isn't she?
Like, I want Big E to voice Jax.
It's just the idea of like the upper guy, meaty men slapping me. Like, I'd love to. I to be honest, I mean, if Street Fighter does come out, we all have to go and watch that as a unit. Like, we can't be watching that separately. That's got to be a proper lads' night out. Which is.
I've pissed my girlfriend off as well, because I keep telling her, I'm like, as soon as the Barbie movie comes out, I'm donning a suit and going to see it. She's like, what? Why? That's for kids.
Who's
like,
is Margot Robbie playing Barbie?
It's Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, Simu Lee, Michael Cera, Will Ferrell's in it as well.
I mean, to be honest,
hefty cast.
That's one of those things where you think, oh, fuck off, but it'll probably be really good.
Yeah.
Like the Baywatch movie, it's actually quite funny. I actually really like
Baywatch movie's okay.
I just like The Rock and Zac Efron giving each other the business. That's all I.
They've got good chemistry.
They have got wicked chemistry, those two. It's very funny when he's ripping on him. Very, very funny. He's like talking about his mangina. I'm like, I use that. Good shit.
Because the thing is, you see the shape that Zac Efron got in that, and you're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he is so shredded.
Because someone
I thought he looked good in Dirty Grandpa.
Yeah, because someone like me who grew up with Zac Efron predominantly in High School Musical as like the skinny, still athletic looking basketball kid, to this big meaty looking dude who could crush you. It's like,
man, he's packing the protein, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey man, I mean, to be fair, if you're going to be on a movie set with a Rock, you better work, because he is humongous.
Jason Momoa as well.
Oh yes, now that's a real man.
Yeah, I still need to see Aquaman. I can't find it anywhere.
You haven't seen Aquaman?
Yeah, because I need to see.
It's amazing.
I need to see Wonder
Woman. It's got Dolph Lundgren in it as a seahorse.
Yeah, and it's got Willem Dafoe as well.
Yes, it has. Yeah,
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 so
it's really good as well.
yeah, and I keep like because you hyped it up, and I keep hearing from like my other work colleagues that Aquaman's really good. I'm like trying to find somewhere to see it, and I'm like,
It's not.
it's
It's not. I have noticed it's not available on any streaming
yeah,
services.
because it was on Netflix, but it's gone off Netflix. So then I thought, let me check Amazon Prime because Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman
Have a
19.
look and see if it's on Now TV's cinema package. Because if it is, you can borrow mine and watch it on there.
I think because we've got Sky, we should have Now TV as well, which would be
Oh, okay,
okay.
cool. So yeah, if you've
Yeah,
got Sky Cinema, if it's not on there, I have no
yeah,
idea.
because I know the Aquaman sequel's coming out in December, so I'm like, I want to see Aquaman
Oh,
before that comes out.
awesome. Yeah, because the first one's
Um,
fucking brilliant. The
yeah,
fight scene in it is the war scene
nice.
with the crustaceans, and that is
Yeah,
mental. I've
yeah.
never seen anything like this humongous like
This,
crab. I'm like, what the fuck? It's
I'm
actually mentally good.
I'm
Very
really
funny as well. Really amusing.
I'm really looking forward to Blue Beetle actually.
Blue
Because I love
Beetle.
yeah, I love Blue Beetle as a character.
Who's that from?
So it's with DC. I forget who's directing it, but it's like one of the last ones before the James Gunn revamp.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, and it's so Blue Beetle's called a hybrid. Think of it as like he's kind of like Spider-Man, but more to do with like the technological side. So he's called Jaime Reyes. He's more like Miles Morales in a way from the Spider-Verse films.
Oh, okay.
Whereas like he's a Hispanic kid looking after his family, and then a beetle lands and discovered that's alien tech, and so he's kind of like burdened with it, like similar to the Spider-Man line with great power comes
Black Mantis in
responsibility.
Aquaman. I think he's Black Mantis. He is great. I
Black
really
Black Manta as a villain is
Black Manta.
so
Sorry, yeah,
cool
he's fucking phenomenal.
because I love in the Young Justice show. It was in a Young Justice where you have a Aqualad who's the black kid, and then I think it's season 2 or
I
season
think he's
3.
going to be in the second one, isn't he? Because the
Yeah,
yeah, I was going to say there's quite a lot of teasing about him in
yeah,
the.
because it was a season 2 or season 3 of Young Justice where it's like revealed that
What the
the
fuck is
Aqu
Young Justice? Is that the Justice League when they're kids?
it's so it's to do with like the Young Justice, so it's to do with like your Robin, Kid Flash, Aqualad,
Oh,
all
okay.
that.
Aqua Lad.
Yeah, and
I just got
Aqualad.
this off. It's like Aquaman, but he's like wearing tweed or Burberry. Oh, geez.
Now Aqualad's black, and he's like one of the best characters.
What? Black people can't wear tweed? What the shit?
No.
Racist, Tanvir.
No, because it was kind of like, okay, he's called Aqualad, and so many people assumed it's like because he's Aqualad, he must be related to
You know what
Aquaman.
women use underwater for their periods?
What?
Aqua pads.
Yeah, when you find that out, and then I love in season 2 of Young Justice when it's revealed that yeah we
I'll tell you
like
what, mate. Young Justice makes me hard. Wait, what?
Whoa. Yeah, it was like you find out that Black Manta's Aqualad's dad, and you're like, oh, that's a
Really?
and you're like, that's a big fucking reveal because
Oh,
you're
they
like,
gotta have him on the film then,
yeah,
surely.
and then it's like the whole conflict thing of, and then they do like this double like spy thing. Young Justice is, it's the one thing that I say with people, it's like you can shit on DC's live action department all you want, but the moment you shit on their animated department,
Yeah, their animations.
I I will I will throw fists because their animation department is
Tanvir
level.
is threatening violence on the Wrestle plug, ladies and gentlemen.
If you threaten DC's animation department, because I mean you've got the Harley Quinn show that's going on right now, you've got Young
Still haven't seen
Justice.
that. I'm told it's hilarious.
It is really good. Oh, there's one of the most saddest jokes in I think season 1 where she accidentally shoots someone with a cancer ray, and she's like, "I'm so sorry." And it's like why did you give him cancer? It's like I didn't know, and you just see her like look so terrible. She's like, I just shot the gun and I didn't know what it was, but now I feel
I'm told
absolutely
Typeface
terrible.
is the absolute most hilarious character on it.
Clayface has one of the best moments because it's Mr. Freeze's introduction, and you just see Clayface like zoom in, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, it's Lady Gaga!" Like freaking out, and it pans back to Mr. Freeze, and you're just like, "Yeah,
I'm just,
Clayface
do
is
you know
brilliant."
what? I'm just going to legally torrent it because
Yeah,
otherwise I'll never see it.
I
Because
think it's on Awful. I think
is
it's on
it?
Awful. I think it might be. The other character who's
We're about to find
hilarious.
out.
The other character who's hilarious on it is Bane. Bane is absolutely
Bane
hilarious
in like, yeah, no, it's
because he's kind of like the depressed loser of like you see him, and each line he has kind of gets you down because you're like, I really want him to succeed, but you know he's not.
Their animation's always been second to none. Remember the old Batman animations, the early ones, like
yeah,
those were groundbreaking.
Teen Titans back in the day, especially Ron Perlman, has slayed might be one of the greatest villains in like cartoon history. Because he had one of the greatest lines. I think it was in the Fear episode where he kept saying to Robin, "It's like I'm the very thing you see in your dreams, and in the night, I'm the very thing that keeps you up in the night." It's like, and Ron Perlman's voice is just so menacing as well.
So it's apparently unavailable on Awful.
Ah, that's annoying.
Which is a bit annoying. So yeah, I'll have to find somewhere to watch it. But yeah, I'll check it out. Right, we're gonna leave it there because I need to have a shit.
Yeah, and I better get some sleep.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got a wedding tomorrow, bro.
Yep.
Or a pre-wedding or a post-wedding or whatever the fuck you lot.
It's the actual wedding day.
This is the Jinder Mahal portion of the wedding. The main event.
I hit the gym. I get to the wedding extra ripped.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, you need Bollywood boys. I recommend Aaron Cruz and Cameron Anderson.
my Bollywood bromance.
What's like the opposite of, because obviously Bollywood is just standard for you guys, so you need the Hollywood boys, and you should just have those two gimps following you around.
We'll get them wearing.
Payback like, for all the white shenanigans. I'll give you the British Empire, you little pricks. You'll have my Hollywood boys. Get in there and dance for me. Dance for me, white boys.
You stole riches from us. We're stealing We're stealing your dignity.
Watch out! The woke community will call us reverse racist.
When Cam put that in the group chat of like, lads, I'm gonna go on dark. I'm like, whoa, are you doing blackface now?
That was I thought, no, I can't make that joke. Fair enough.
It's because it was the way he phrased it. He didn't say like, oh yeah, I'm going on AEW doc. He's like, lads, I'm going dark now. You're like, Cam, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Can you imagine him on? He wouldn't even get on Dark Elevation, but yeah,
Cameron Cream Anderson.
Cameron Cream Anderson. What a fucking layabout. Wherever you are, mate, fuck you for not turning up as per usual. From Tanvir and from myself, thank you very much for watching the State of Wrestling address, which then turned into the DC State of Address for the last half an hour. But as we all love a bit of that, even I'm a bit of a nerd at times. But yeah, until next week, ladies and gentlemen, we will catch you very soon for more content from the Wrestle Blog. Give it the old Spocker, mate. She'll love it.
The Spock.
It's like the jaws of life, isn't it? What? What I called my exes, Fanny.